Let's start from Parliament this afternoon because tempest flared up in Parliament today after a Member of Parliament for Notong, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, accused President Akufo-Addo of being in constant breach of the law despite being touted as an advocate of rule of law. Mr. Ablakwa says President Akufo-Addo has not complied with the constitutional provision to furnish Parliament with the annual report on the staff at the presidency. Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin, who was incensed over the description, called on his colleague NDC MP to withdraw the words. The demand threw the House into chaos. We'll be going live to Parliament to speak with parliamentary correspondent Kwesi Parker-Wilson for more on this. But now we're told the roads minister is on the floor briefing the House on the current state of our roads.
It has been forwarded to the Public Procurement Authority for approval of the procurement method to be used. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, honourable member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm aware that some part of this 24-kilometer route, I'm not clear on the kilometerage though. I'm aware that some of it, starting from Kaswa, has been commenced, and asphalt has been laid in the Awutuseya East municipality. I would like to ask that. I hope that same surface would continue all the way to Bojuase. Thank you. You didn't hear?
Yes, honourable minister. Did you get a question? Honourable member, may you
Chairman,
speak up?
sorry, Mr. Speaker, sorry. I'm saying that I'm aware that some part of the road has commenced from Kaswa heading to Ofako. They have had an asphalt overlay. I'm asking the minister whether is that same road surface going to continue all the way to Bojuase? I'd like to know. Thank you.
Yes, honourable minister.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Kaswa Bojuase Road, I'm sure, is not new to anybody. It's a very important road in our country and in our national road network. We consider it as one of the important corridors that we have. I want to assure the honourable member that we shall continue with what he has been saying on that road, and is going to be brought up and well built, to the standard that will satisfy her and her constituents. So it will continue. I want to assure you on that. Thank you.
I can see the chemistry between you and the minister. So you can rest assured that the minister will do it. Anyway, let's hear.
Mr. Speaker, if you're an MP and you don't have that chemistry between the minister, especially when you're an opposition MP, then Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. In his answer, he indicated that it had been forwarded to the Public Procurement Authority for approval of the procurement method to be used. I would like some clarification on that procurement method to be used, because I don't know why it has been singled out that it needs approval for the procurement method to be used. I just want to know so that when my constituents ask me how soon this road is likely to begin or to continue from Ofako to Bojuase, I'll be able to give some response, because there are some death traps on the road which need to be seen to in the shortest possible time. Thank you.
Yes, Minister.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I do not want and I don't intend to confuse my honourable member. All that is being asked from the procurement authority is the approval. We know what to be done on the road is rehabilitation. And if we say that the procurement method to be used, just take it that we want the approvals we have requested from the authority. And if they give us approval, we know how we are developing.
We can now speak with correspondent Parker Wilson live in Parliament. Parker, tell me how exactly the argument or the allegations that the president has breached the constitution turned into chaos.
Right, so Aisha, essentially the president at the beginning of the session had to come and approve Parliament on what we call the Presidential Office Act. And a provision in the Act mandates him to furnish Parliament with the number of staff at the presidency, their account, their job description, and all of that. And so, Kujetua Blacka, being the Member of Parliament for Northern constituency, in the last few weeks has been raising concerns about the president's failure to do that. And so today, according to Kujetua Blacka, the president has within 3 months at the beginning of the year to do that. Today is the 1st of April. What it means is that we've ushered ourselves into the second half of the year. And so the president has breached it. And in his words, he indicated that the president counts himself as a paragon of the rule of law and yet continuously breach or violate the law with impunity. This was the issue that got the deputy minister the deputy majority leader, Alexander Soyomakin, incensed over the comment, and that was how the whole heated exchanges happened. Aisha, I'll speak to you briefly on that, but the sanitation water resources minister is there, Cecilia Blandapa. She came to Parliament to answer a few questions. I'm sure in your area, the issue of the water facilities and all of that has been a problem. Honorable Minister, there's a question has been asked. They are asking, when are we going to get full water supply across the country? Hello, Honorable Minister. Yes. I'm working through them. Oh, okay.
All right, so Parker Wilson is reporting from Parliament, and he's explaining to us how an accusation by MP for Tong Okudeto-Ablakwa that the president has breached parts of the constitution led to chaos because Deputy Majority Leader Fenyo Markins was incensed by that comment. I'm yet to find out from Parker how this was resolved. Parker, so how was this chaos resolved?
I mean, I must say that it was a heated exchange between the Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Fenyo Markins and the North MP. You could hear him saying that you have to withdraw those words. The MP also insisted that he wasn't going to withdraw. In fact, it became more like a chorus, withdraw, I want to withdraw. And the minority caucus in the House were also chanting them that Ablaka is not going to withdraw. In fact, at a point, the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Andrew Isiama, who was presiding over sitting, was quite helpless. He was trying to impress upon the North MP to sit down, and yet the MP was refusing. And you could hear him say, Honorable Ablaka, showing signs of frustration because it was a bit chaotic in the chamber. Everybody was up on his feet and they were all talking and all of that. So at the end of the day, Alexander Fenyo Markins proceeded to make his point, but the speaker gave an opportunity for Ablaka to also respond. But he made the point that what he said wasn't wrong because the president started himself as a rule of law, an apostle of rule of law. And so if he is in constant breach of the law, then it's problematic. And he doesn't see why Fenyo Markins would disrespect the minority side, which he believes has become probably his conduct. And so he's urging him to calm down and address members with some level of respect. And so that was how the speaker, the second deputy speaker, resolved the matter and asked that the House to cease fire and then proceeded with the business for the day.
Parker.
Hello, Aisha.
Is the House rising today?
The House is expected to rise on Tuesday per the business statement for next week. Parliament is settled on Monday. In fact, they were supposed to sit tomorrow and continue or conclude with the debate on the State of the Nation address delivered by the President last Wednesday. But upon further consultation, the leadership of the House, i.e. the Business Committee, have resolved that they would postpone the Saturday session, which is tomorrow, to a Monday, and then from Monday, Tuesday, Parliament will go on recess and return later in the year to come and continue with the business. And something that, of course, there's a lot of it because one of the key agenda for this sitting was to ensure the approval of the E-levy. And if that has been done, perhaps there is nothing much because some of the NPP MPs and the NDC MPs have even traveled outside the jurisdiction. So it tells you that there wouldn't be much of government business in Parliament. And so it is fair for MPs to go on recess next week Tuesday.
Parker Wilson is our man in Parliament. He's been bringing us up to speed as to what has been happening in Parliament since it's sat this morning. Now, officials from the National Health Insurance Authority were sacked from a meeting with members of Parliament's Health Committee after it emerged that less than 10% out of a total of over 2 billion Ghana cedis collected last year was deposited into the health fund, representing about 127 million Ghana cedis. According to ranking member on Health Committee, Kwabena Minta-Kando, all monies collected must be lodged into the scheme's fund within 30 days. The officials had come to meet the committee for the approval of their formula for this year, but the Joaboso MP observed that until the law is complied with, the committee will not approve the said formulary.
It's indicated to know how much the government of Ghana has collected in the name of the National Health Insurance Scheme with respect to 2021. As part of the practices of the House, the National Health Insurance Authority is supposed to appear before us every year, especially with respect to their formula. Fortunately, today, as part of the procedures, they appeared before the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health. They presented a document to us, which is titled National Health Insurance Authority, National Health Insurance Fund Allocation Formula 2022. We checked page 10, table 4.3.2, and by their own records, the government of Ghana has collected 2.056 billion Ghana cedis in the name of National Health Insurance in the year 2021. 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to the amount that has been released to the fund. I repeat, they have collected 2.056 billion Ghana cedis, and they have released 127 million, less than 10% of the amount collected. Less than 10% of the amount collected in the year 2021. Again, when we considered the 2022 budget, of which an Appropriation Act has been passed, we approved an amount of about 3.3 billion Ghana cedis. Now, when you look at their formula, on page 25, they are formulating their formula around 2.6 billion, whilst the budget or the Appropriation Act has approved 3.3 billion. Clearly, there is some disparity. When we asked them, the response we had was that they have received instructions to cut down this budget by 30%. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't make laws on the floor of the House for people to sit in their offices to alter the law. So, with these 2 reasons, we ask them to go back and come with the minister responsible for finance. Because the law of the National Health Insurance Act is clear.
So we're also focusing today on the Mining Week. Vuta Ghana Gold Expo Limited is organizing this one. As you are aware, Ghana is a leading gold producer on the continent, accounting for about a third of total gold production. Industry players believe this is the right time for Ghana to take advantage of its position to build a more integrated mining industry. Let's join the feed from Takrade now.
Global. In Ghana, Celestina, tell me, we basically have downstream, right? Yes. So in Ghana, we're pretty much aligned with that goal already. The third one is on water stewardship. We know mining companies use a lot of water. Our goal is 80% of our water will be recycled or reused. 80%, which means that we only take about 20% fresh water. And we will have a 45% reduction in fresh water compared to our 2018 baseline. I'll say that for Tarkwa, for example, last year, our freshwater extraction was almost zero, if you look at it. So we're already there in some of the commitments we've put out there. On health and safety, that is a given. If it's not safe, we will not mine. Gender diversity, we're making a bold statement that 30% of our workforce will be women by 2030. In a few more years. We're at 11% now. So there is a lot of work to do. But I don't give up because you know what? 26 or 5 years ago in my class in mechanical engineering, there was no female. Today, Prof. Amankwa, how many females do you have in your engineering program first year? 25%. So in a short 20 years, you've moved from 0 to 25%. So I'm not worried about the 30%. We'll get there. The things we need to do, we will do it. And the sixth item, probably the most important to me, is stakeholder value creation. And we've made some bold statement there. 30% of total value created will benefit our host communities. 30% will benefit our host communities. That's significant. We want to leave value beyond mining, and we mean it by some of the actions that we take. So let me then go over some of the things I talked about, the targets, and start with decarbonization or energy and carbon management. We probably were one of the first companies to make this jump, and we currently don't rely on the national grid. We're self-sufficient with power. We generate our own power for our Tarkwa and Daman mines. We've got 95 megawatts of electricity generation capacity now, so we're not a problem for the national grid. In fact, we're getting to the position where we can actually support the national grid. And we're doing this using natural gas. It's not diesel, natural gas. And through us, the local company that we engaged, Gensa, was able to build a pipeline from here all the way to Tarkwa. And on that pipeline, government is making moves to extend to Kumasi. So we have been a purveyor, if you like, of that development. And I'm proud to be associated with that. On environmental management, I'll show you the people who have been doing the real work and how they feel so proud about what they've done. Again, I'll refer to 20 years ago when we were looking for standards back then. you will have to look for international standards because in the Ghana standards was not formed yet. I remember those days for tailings, for noise, for everything really you want to do, you have to look for international standards because the Ghana standards was not well established. I think, Dr. Kokofu, you're here, I'm sure you know that history. But subsequent to that, the Ghana standards are well established now, very well aligned with international standards. And I'm proud to say we adhere to them very strictly. Whether it's blast monitoring, noise pollution, dust, all of that, our tailings management, the way we handle our effluent discharges, all according to international standard. And the one that really will surprise you, if you look up there to the top right corner, and I tell you that was a waste dump, would you believe that? That was a waste dump 15 years ago, was a waste dump. That is almost a full forest. And the guys who did the work, I'll share a video with you shortly, and they will explain it to you. We've planted a total of over 1 million trees, 1 million trees. So when the president talks about Green Ghana and the initiative, we're already there. We're already doing the move, and we're supportive of government's initiative in that area. We've planted, like I said, over 1 million trees already between Takwa and Daman, and we have in our plantation over 500,000 trees that we can redeploy anytime. So at this point, I'll just stop and let you hear from the people.
Your topsoil, which is the goal for rehabilitation of the goal for plant growth, is stored properly and used after closure. As you can see, this is a reclaimed land with an about 11-year-old vegetation, which shows that if we are able to manage your topsoil well, the land can be reclaimed and reused at closure. Takwa has a concession of about 20.8 square kilometers. Currently, we've degraded about 5,000 hectares, and we've claimed about 12% of that area. And where I stand is a typical example of a reclaimed area on the mine.
Daman was the first mining company to sign a reclamation agreement with the Environmental Protection Agency and to post a reclamation bond in Ghana. The mine has a mining lease of 8,111 hectares, and 17% of the lease has been disturbed, and 35% of the disturbed area has been rehabilitated. We have a policy to concurrently rehabilitate lands disturbed by our mining operations, and we have been very successful in reclamation of tailings storage facilities and waste rock dumps to support economic activities such as commercial agriculture.
I didn't say it, you've seen it. And unfortunately, on the trip tomorrow, you're going somewhere else. Hopefully, Angela will be able to show you that as well. I'm not putting you on the spot, Angela. So I'll just talk about value creation as the other arm, the sixth arm. I'm proud to say 70% of our employees are from our host communities. 70% are from our host communities. 70%. I mean, it's already known how much we pay in royalties and taxes to government. Just this week, I handed over to the Deputy Minister of Mines a check for interim dividend for 2022. So we do uphold our statutory obligations very well. Just down this slide, you will see our taxes and royalties that we've paid over the last 20 years. 1.6 billion in taxes and royalties, pay as you earn, $323 million, dividend to government, because government is a shareholder, it's a 10% shareholder, $163 million. We did the Black Star sponsorship in the past, and I know the Honorable Minister is asking for us to support again this time to take our blasters to Qatar. We're looking at that. And of course, the unfortunate incident that happened in Apiati by no means was very unfortunate. And the plans that have been put in place by government and all stakeholders, I am very sure will make sure something like that never happens in our country again. So in terms of creating value, we continue to create value and leave behind value way after we're gone. The team and myself, our main focus this year and the years to come is going to be the value that we create in our host communities. So we're going to be prioritizing some of the projects that we're going to work on through our foundation. Our foundation has over $84 million spent. We're going to prioritize those projects, and the focus will be more on, creating jobs, alternative jobs outside of mining will be our focus. Health will be another focus area, and education and agriculture. So I talked about, I think the president mentioned the asphalted 33-kilometer road that links our two honorables' constituencies, Tarkwa and Daman. I think they can talk about the impact that road has made. It's beautiful, by the way. Those of you who haven't used it, it's really beautiful. But it's opened that area up significantly. If I see, the commercial activities that have opened up in those two areas just because of the road that has come, the multiplier effect is extremely significant. Sometimes we underrate some of these things. We do them thinking, oh, we're just linking two towns, but townships are being created. Daman, as a town, is growing as a result of this road. Now, between Tarkwa and Daman right now is pretty much linked. In the past, it wasn't that linked, but because of this road, they're linked now. And we're doing the stadium. Hopefully by fourth quarter this year, we will complete it, and it will be a 10,000-seater stadium, very beautiful stadium in Western region, in Tarkwa for that matter. And then also importantly, our Youth in Agriculture project, where we're engaging over 500 youth in farming, vegetables, and the rest. Those are the things that will create jobs beyond our mining operations, and we're focusing on doing that. Some more pictures of some of the things we have done. And then you hear from the participants of it. We can get a volume. Hopefully we can get a volume. Otherwise, I'll have to tell the story like the way it used to be 40 years ago when we had soundless films. It's just talking about the things we've done in engaging the youth in alternative employment. Philippa over there was telling her story. If that won't play, I'll go to the next one. It's also quite interesting.
My name is Charles Nyama, a graduate from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. I did geomatic engineering. With this 2-year graduate training program, I've been able to learn enough to the extent that without any supervision, I get a chance to go to the pit. Wherever they need it, I go and deliver the task. What we do is that we have the daily pickups. The amount of ore or waste mined, we need to get a volume as a contract mining to know the volume they've mined. So we go out there to pick up the results and also define how the pit is now. In terms of job opportunities in Takwa, seriously, it's very, very tough. So I think with this graduate trainee program serves a very great joy and happiness in our lives. And I think that the relevancy is very high. So I'll urge that this program will continue so that most of the guys unemployed will get opportunity to get something doing.
Good. So in full disclosure, 25 years ago, I was also a graduate trainee. So hopefully Charles will stand here before you 25 years from now. To close it, we're here not just for gold, we're here to leave behind value. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you very much. So seamless from Mr. Baku to you. So seamless. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the story of Goldfields. And I think that if you find time to go through the brochure and look at the back, you'll find what they are doing. We are doing very well with time.
Adamus Resources Limited is a gold mine in the Nzima area of the Western region. It is approximately 300 kilometers southwest by road from Accra and about 80 kilometers westwest by road from the port of Takrady. Using a carbon-in-leach technology, that is the CIL technology, with a processing plant designed to treat oxides, transition, and primary ore, mining operations commenced in November 2010 and commercial operations in April 2011. Adamus Resources Limited is committed to the creation and maintenance of safe and healthy environment for all who are affected by our business operations, thus ensuring an environmentally and socially responsible mining. Yes, we are the champions of the 2021 Intermines First Aid and Safety Competition. And before then, we have achieved a lot of successes, part of which we have displayed here. With competent and well-motivated employees, we continually improve on our processes while we grow our assets through accelerated programs.
The Social Responsibility Department of Adamus Resources has its core mandates. That includes engagement, stakeholder engagement, land access for exploration and mining, grievance management where issues are reported, investigated, and resolved, and then the community under that. The company focuses on 4 key areas. Talking about education, where scholarship plays a very key role, water and sanitation, health and donation, free resettlement projects, Sama, Telepocazo, and then improve the latest. So far, the company has spent $4.2 billion on community development. And some of the things are in the communities when you visit, you will see.
Company Adamus, a buy. So how many about that? Now, company buy. My boy is a young Masamuko, yes. If you look at a company now, I can see a diagram meeting. I can yak Adamus buy. I Mofra, Omopeg Maya, and I am Rantia, Mafafa kɛseɛ. Ahyɛ sɛ nobody ka de ekutire no binom ɛwɔ kekam technical school. Wɔn a yɛsɛ yɛfa wɔn yɛ no yɛafa wɔn na wɔn yɛ adwuma. Wɔn nso a yɛntumi amfa wɔn no. Obinom abiebie wɔn shop a wɔn ankasa ɛyɛ yɛn nsa no adwuma. Adamus baayɛ no in fact ama ɛlɛmbɛ titiriw abue sɛ biribi a ɛyɛ de bi abɔ nneɛma ɛfa ho. Nkitaho deɛ nturo bi a na bufu aba nso ɛbɛyɛ ne yɛn kasa yɛate yɛn ho ase na yɛkɔ yɛn anim. Adamus baayɛ no baabi wɔ hɔ a wɔyɛ adwuma ɛyɛ first peter wɔde start yɛ no na ɛbɛn nti nkitaho a wɔn ne mpanyinfoɔ di yɛ no kyɛ sɛ ɛsɛ amuna no wɔn ntumi nkata so nti wɔn wi after 10 years no etwa trust fund bi ɛde to hɔ ɛyɛ $10 million saa $10 million yi wɔn de ma ɔka so ɛne anwea saa $10 million yi ɛnyɛ adeɛ a nananom yɛkyɛ sika no ɛda hɔ ɛyɛ trust fund a afi biara mfaso a ɛba ho no ɛne yɛde yɛ project yɛde ayɛ project bebree yɛde bi ayɛ nsuo a yɛnom akasɛ ɛwɔ kɔ new town a resettlement Adamus yɛ maa yɛ no wɔn yɛ bridge maa yɛ deɛ nso baabi a nanka yɛsɛ bridge baako fa nanfa nti yɛ sika no bi ɛne yɛde ayɛ bridge asisi a yɛnam so yɛba yɛde bi so ayɛ scholarships every year biara nfansa afi biara Adamus nankasa wɔ scholarship wɔn de ma mmɔfra no ɛna yɛankasa yɛ trust fund no nso yɛyi biara yɛde scholarship ɛde ma mmɔfra no nti Adamus wɔn abɛboa yɛ nyankopɔn nhyira wo anto wɔn nankwam madwuma nkɔfama wo na nkyirima nso a aka no wɔn nso mmra na wɔn hu mfaso a ɛwɔ adwuma no yɛda mo ase.
Yes, we've grown over the past years and we continue to grow. We are one team in Adamus and we are proud to be part of the 2022 Mining Week celebration.
Hello. So you understand, it's a teaser to Adamus tomorrow. Angela, you're happy, aren't you? It's like the Olympic Games. When you finish, you hand over to the next country. So from Goldfields to you. Great. We'll come to another session, and this one will be moderated by the Vice Chancellor of UMAT. He's a teacher, speaks well, and he believes in this vision. He's done a lot. I have the pleasure, before I bring his panelists, to invite him to take the podium. And microphones, please. Okay. Those of you who are passing left side, be careful. But I think you're better off passing here. But if you are careful, don't take the first step. Just move to the second one. Professor, you are welcome. So you are the moderator for this session. In this session, 4 other personalities will be joining from various fields. And I don't know who to start with, but I'll start with Dr. Henry Kokofu, CEO of the EPA. The man is very well versed, and like the Nigerians will say, he's very lettered. He's an environmentalist, a politician, a lawyer. He holds a lot of degrees, and he's a member, because of his strategic position, he's a member of many boards. Maritime Authority, Lands Commission, Petroleum Commission, Public Investment Program and Working Committee, Public-Private Partnerships Committee. Wow. Please give him a clap before I continue. I see that he likes the politics because he has put asterisks there that he's a former member of parliament and he's a politician. You are welcome. You can find his brief profile on page 25, eh? Oh, okay. You know, I was looking for your uniform. I thought that the picture had your uniform. Okay, so his picture on page 25. First down. So he will be joined by Dr. Celestina Alote, Vice President and Head of Sustainable Development, Goldfields, West Africa. Mr. Laurent Payat, Managing Director, Viola, Ghana. And Mr. Isaac Wimbele, representing the CEO of Minerals Commission. I hope I got your name right. Right, thank you. In this session, the professor will lead the panel and all of us to understand mining tailings storage technology, standard regulations and tailings management, preparedness in event of tailings failure. Well, when we hear failure, we know other things too can fail. And then cost, impact, and public dialogue to impact public accountability. So in 30 minutes, Professor, we are in your hands. I shall be prompting you.
Those who understand, you know that the tech is very new and wide, but it's not enough to fit into a chair. Thank you very much. Based on the protocols of the please permit me to write on the back of it and move on as I need the session. We have 4 bright stars in the galaxy of the tailings environment to educate us about what happens in their space. And as we all know, we talk about the grade of gold, 2 grams per ton, 1 gram per ton. It means that if you find a ton, you take only just about 1 gram out of it. Where do you keep the rest? And how do you make sure that you protect it in such a way that it does not break down to the environment around us? This is what we are going to talk about. So each of the 4 big people here, presentation, and after that there will be some questions. Please permit me to start with the CEO, EP, regarding the standard that you set for this environment. Thank you.
Yes. This one. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The protocol is well established, so I'll stand by that. From Environmental Protection Agency, with great felicitations to the organizers of this program and to the dignitaries. Our presentations, for lack of time, you won't be so much, but we do introduction and then try to see what is mine tailings, quickly mine tailings disposal, what is tailings storage facility, conventional tailings disposition types, tailings storage facility design considerations, tailings deposition methods, instrumentation, management of excess supernatant water, historical perspective of tailings storage facilities in Ghana, current practices. Then we look at environmental considerations and we conclude. So, Mr. Moderator, be assured that EPA will be within time. Mr. Moderator, Nana Chair, I must confess that we're trying to be preaching to the already converted, because captains of industries here do really know, and they know far better than we do as regulators. But for those who are uninitiated, few of our colleagues who do not actually have insight, that much insight in the subject. Globally, the storage and handling of mine tailings is a major environmental challenge, and that is an obvious thing to look at. Majority of mine tailings are toxic and must be kept perpetually isolated from the biophysical environment. And this one, I think everybody agrees with, particularly when you have heavy metals like mercury and others, sodium cyanide and all others in place. The volume of tailings production is immense, since metal extraction is usually only ounces or pounds for every ton of ore. Mine tailings are usually a very fine mud or powder, which is left over after ore is crushed and valuable minerals are extracted from it. So mine tailings may also contain chemicals that are used in mineral extractions. That's why I mentioned mercury and other chemicals. Mine tailings are distinct from waste rock, which is the non-ore rock which miners move and discard as they dig down to assess the underlying ore. They are also distinct from soil and organic matter, collectively known as overburden, which is removed from the surface above the ore deposit. Mine tailings, disposal of mine tailings is usually the single biggest environmental concern faced by most mining companies and creates very long-term environmental liabilities, which we do agree future generations may have to grapple with or try to manage. And this Environmental Protection Agency and the companies, the mining companies, have always had some form of confrontation on this. Many mine tailings do not become appreciably safer over time, if not stored properly, and therefore must be stored for an indefinite period using current technology. The historically used alternative to storage was to dispose of tailings in the most convenient way possible, such as river dumping. And this Ankobra River has suffered a lot. And it has led to widespread environmental contamination in mining areas. This was nominally viable in earlier eras, but human production of mine tailings has increased by several orders of magnitude in the modern age, making such methods unacceptable to many societies, including Ghana. Tailings storage facilities is an engineered structures that comprise the confining embankments, commonly referred to as tailings dams, and associated infrastructure, and are designed to contain tailings and to manage associated water. TSF contains waste material from ore processing in liquid or slurry form and must be responsibly managed to prevent impacts on human life and safety, the environment, and other infrastructure. Conventional tailings deposition types, we have so many, in-pit tailings, co-disposal tailings, on-land tailings disposition, also known as valley impoundments, and all others. Now, the tailings storage facilities, how it's being designed and what are taken into considerations. We're saying that basin preparation, compacted clay liner. A compacted clay liner is a seepage-free barrier constructed of a cohesive soil that is compacted to increase its bulk dry density and homogeneity. The purpose is to reduce porosity and decrease soil permeability. Then we have the high-density polyethylene geomembrane liner. This one is the preferred product for lining projects. HDPE liner is resistant to many different solvents and are the most widely used geomembrane liner in the world. Although HDPE geomembrane provides higher specific strength and can withstand higher temperatures, its exceptional chemical and ultraviolet resistance properties make it an extremely cost-effective product. The agency have over the years realized that the use of the compacted clay liner alone does not provide the required permeability, and as such have instituted the use of HDPE geomembrane liner in addition to the compacted clay liner. Embankment construction. We have the upstream, we have the downstream, and we have the center line. And we had my big brother from Goldfields talking about the downstream, which is the accepted norm, and Ghana is already in there. That is a good thing for us. I will skip the positions. There are a lot of methods, and like I said earlier on, you do know. Let me get to the instrumentations. We have groundwater monitoring boreholes. As groundwater monitoring boreholes are designed to determine any potential groundwater contamination, and this is very, very key and very important, because if you do not take care, we will end up contaminating the groundwater, which is there is a reservoir, a huge reservoir for water resources. Then the piezometers, the standpipe and vibrating wire. These are designed to measure fluid pressures such as pore water pressure, joint water pressure, well pressure, and pump line pressure. Then we have also the prisms, that are the settlement systems. Settlement systems are designed to follow the vertical movement of points of interest, depending on your project's specific requirements. Various technologies from manually surveyed settlement places to high-precision settlement monitoring systems, and they are available. Then the inclinometers. Inclinometer probes are a manually operated instrument that uses repeated measurements along the axis of the inclinometer casing to calculate deformations normal to the axis. This is very important. How do we manage the excess supernatant water? The tailings storage facilities are designed as zero discharge facilities. That's the ideal thing, but that is not what it is on the ground. However, in the event of excess supernatant water accumulation, there is the need to treat same to comply with the provisions of Ghana standards for environment and health protection. Requirements for effluent discharge. The citation is there. Proud to discharge into the external environment. You can also use the reverse osmosis treatment technology, where water treatment technology that removes contaminants from water by using pressure to force water molecules through a semi-permeable membrane. During this process, the contaminants are filtered and flushed out, resulting in clean water and the generation of brine. And this is water recycling, a very efficient way of doing it. Then the adsorption treatment technology. This one, treatment technology, is from use as tertiary purification for the removal of organic micropollutants and COD, and metals in organic complexes, that's brine, to a lesser extent from wastewater. The absorption factor is determined various grounds. Okay, on the next slide, there are some specific historical perspective of tailings storage facility. This was before dawn, and this is what we have now. I'm unable to mention the particular company, but this is what we see here, what we were doing as tailings storage facility previously. But today we have here. Please go ahead. Go on. The current practices we see there. You're doing a lot of good things, the industry. I think you'll be clapping for yourselves, the industry, yes. Environmental considerations, since we are coming from that perspective. The following environmental considerations are adopted for sustainable construction and operation of tailings storage facilities. We're saying that downstream embankment design construction due to its robustness. So, sir, you are perfectly right in your admonition. Then HDP geomembrane lining, I've already enumerated. We say monitoring instrumentation must always be there for early detection, rehabilitation of decommissioned TSFs, and we just saw some just recently. Then, by way of conclusion, we're saying that for long-term stability and sustainability of tailings storage facilities in the mining industry, there is a need to, 1, adopt appropriate designs, 2, select appropriate technology, 3, adopt relevant monitoring mechanisms, and implement suitable closure methods. Above all, be compliance to EPA, Environmental Protection Agency regulations. For lack of time, I would have given you EPA in focus, but Prof, you've allowed me 1 minute. My Secretary Minister is here, Honorable Dr. Kwekwe, representing the President. He has embarked on a complete reformation and restructuring, refocusing of Environmental Protection Agency, starting with the amendment of the law. Soon, you will be called Environmental Protection Authority with much, much more muscle to deal with environmental matters in this country. And when that happens, you are sure to have a very...
That's how we wrap up Joy News today. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Let me take you back to Takrady, where the Mining Week is currently being observed.